Hello and welcome to the section on adjustment layers. So in this section, we're going to talk about a way to edit your images so that you're not destructively destroying your original image. So what do I mean by that? Well, in the previous lesson, we talked about layers, and when you bring an image into Photoshop, the image is placed on a background layer that is locked. We can edit that image directly on that layer, and when we do, we can make those changes as needed. Then, if we save this file, close it out, and come back next week, next month, next year, and we decide, you know what, I don't like that edit that I made, I need to fix it. Well, guess what? You can't start from the original file because you applied an edit directly to the pixels of that background layer and you destroyed those pixels. Well, you maybe didn't destroy them, but you can't get back what you had originally when you shot this photo in camera. So now you have to edit the image based off of the edits that you made. And the more you do that, the more degraded your image becomes. So the way that I recommend editing your images is using adjustment layers. And here's how it works. You can apply your adjustment layers from this icon down here via these menus, or you can go up to Layer, New Adjustment Layer, and then select your options from here. So I can select levels, I can give it a name, we'll just leave it at levels 1 for now, and then I can make those edits to my image. I can then close out this file, it's going to ask me to save it, and it's going to save it as a PSD file. So I'm going to click Save, and now when I go back to that image, that adjustment layer is still there, and then I can reset the image back to the original edit either by turning off this layer, deleting it, or just going in and tweaking the edits that were applied previously. So this is working non-destructively and gives you more flexibility to make adjustments to your edits either now, tomorrow, or anytime in the future. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the different adjustment layer options that we have. And we have a total of 16 different tools to help us edit our images. We can increase or decrease the brightness or the contrast. Levels, which we just worked on a second ago, will allow you to adjust the tonal range of your image. You can adjust the white and black points as well as the dynamic range of the image. We also have curves, which we learned about in ACR, and you can apply an S-curve to control the amount of contrast in the highlights and the shadows. You can also work on the exposure of the image. You can increase or decrease the exposure. You can increase or decrease the vibrance. You can adjust colors via the hue and saturation adjustment layer. So we can adjust the hue of the master colors, which is all the colors in the image, or we can select individual color channels to adjust. So if we put it on green, since we have a lot of green in here, we can change the color from green to fall-like for some of the colors. We can also increase or decrease the saturation of the green colors or all the colors at once. And then lightness increases or decreases the brightness of your image. You can also work on the color balance, which is good for color casts, whether in the midtones, the shadows, or the highlights. You can convert your image to black and white. And then you have the option to control the individual color channels for a custom black and white. With the photo filter, you can use that to apply things like a warming filter. You can then increase the density of that color filter. And inside of here, we have other filters that are pre-made and provided for you. So if you want to do a particular color cast on your image for a specific look, you can apply that via one of these filters. Channel Mixer is a more advanced type of edit, and we're not going to go into a lot of detail about that right now. We may cover that in a future lesson. Color lookup, this is good for doing things like cinematic photos. There are other types of color adjustments that you can apply via the different pre-made settings provided by Adobe. So these will give you different types of custom looks based on the color setting that you choose. So as you can see, there's a lot of different options that you can choose from when applying adjustment layers to edit your images. So in total, there's 16 altogether, and the ones that I use the most are these 4 here, and then vibrance, hue, saturation, and maybe color balance once in a while, and then black and white. Everything else are more creative type edits, and I don't really use those a whole lot. So go ahead and go through those, pick out an image of your own, or just pick one from the course, and go ahead and play with the different options that you have with your adjustment layers. Then go ahead and save that file, come back, and then all you have to do to re-edit a particular type of an adjustment layer, just come over here to the icon next to the adjustment layer you want to retweak, and double click on that icon, and you'll get a properties box that will allow you to readjust those edits that you applied previously. So again, I highly recommend working with adjustment layers when editing your images in order to work non-destructively versus destructively. Okay, so in the next lesson, we're going to go over layer masks, and I'm going to explain how to use this to tweak your edits and create a more custom edit.